Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're exploring the Lincoln Wheat Penny, a classic coin that tells a story far bigger than its value. With its timeless design and hidden rarities, this little penny has captured the attention of collectors. For generations, from overlooked details to valuable finds, let's uncover what makes the Lincoln Wheat Penny a true piece of American history. First up, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny coin without a mint mark is a widely recognized and historically significant coin that holds a prominent place in the long-running Lincoln Cent series. This particular penny was minted during a pivotal time in American and world history. With World War II nearing its end in 1944, the production and use of American coins reflected the nation's economic conditions, wartime demands, and patriotic efforts. The Lincoln Wheat Penny design itself had already been in use for over 3 decades by that point, and it continued to serve as a familiar element in everyday transactions and American life. The absence of a mint mark on the coin indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which was the primary facility for United States coin production and often did not include a mint mark on its coins during that period. The obverse side of the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. The portrait shows Lincoln in profile, facing to the right. Above the image is the motto "In God We Trust." To the left of Lincoln's profile is the word "Liberty," and to the right is the date of issue, 1944. The overall design is straightforward yet deeply symbolic, representing national ideals and honoring the legacy of a president whose leadership helped preserve the Union. The coin's simplicity and clarity have contributed to its lasting visual appeal and numismatic importance. The reverse side of the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny features to stylize wheat stalks curving along the left and right borders of the coin. These stalks frame the central inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above the denomination is the Latin motto E Pluribus Unum. This reverse design was used from 1909 through 1958 and has since been fondly referred to as the wheat penny or wheatback. The wheat stalks symbolize agricultural prosperity and growth, reflecting the essential role of farming in the American economy during the first half of the 20th century. The design as a whole is symmetrical, clean, and closely tied to American values. The 1944 wheat penny is especially notable because it was struck during a unique period of coinage history. In 1943, the United States Mint produced cents made from zinc-coated steel instead of the traditional copper in order to conserve copper for use in wartime production. However, the steel cents were unpopular due to their tendency to rust and their resemblance to dimes. As a result, in 1944 the mint returned to using a primarily copper composition, which had become more readily available as the war shifted toward its conclusion. Interestingly, many 1944 pennies were minted using recycled ammunition shell casings, which were melted down and repurposed for coinage. This detail adds an element of historical depth to the coin, as it not only served a monetary function but also represented the reuse of materials during a time of global conflict and resource conservation. The 1944 penny without a mint mark was produced in very large quantities by the Philadelphia Mint. It is one of the most commonly found wheat pennies in circulation and coin collections. Because so many were made and widely used, many surviving examples exist in circulated condition. A circulated coin like the one described shows typical signs of use, such as surface wear, minor scratches, or some loss of detail in the high points of the design. Even with these signs of age and use, the coin remains legible and valuable as a piece of American numismatic and historical heritage. The copper composition of the 1944 Lincoln penny gives it a distinctive reddish-brown hue that may vary in appearance depending on how the coin was stored and handled over the years. In a circulated condition, the color may have darkened and developed unnatural patina. This is a normal chemical reaction of copper with the environment and often adds character to older coins. Collectors and hobbyists sometimes look for examples with original red luster, but even-toned or darkened coins are respected for their authenticity and history. The physical condition of a circulated coin, while not pristine, does not detract from its significance. Instead, it adds to its narrative, suggesting the countless hands through which it passed and the decades of use it endured. Coins like the 1940 for wheat penny serve as tangible connections to the past. They allow modern observers to reflect on a time when the world was at war, the American economy was mobilized for a massive effort, and ordinary people contributed to victory through work, sacrifice, and resourcefulness. Carrying a 1940 for penny in one's pocket during that time meant participating in a shared national experience. People used coins like this one to buy food, stamps, and supplies during a period of rationing and wartime economy. For this reason, such a coin carries far more than its face value. It carries memories and meaning embedded in its copper surface. The design longevity of the Lincoln wheat cent is also a point of interest. From 1909 to 1958, the wheat reverse remained unchanged, making it one of the most recognizable American coin designs in history. Brenner's obverse portrait of Lincoln was a groundbreaking choice at the time of its release, as it was the first regular issue American coin to depict a real historical figure. Its continued use speaks to its success in honoring Lincoln's legacy. Collectors and historians appreciate the way this coin bridges art, history, and economics in a compact and enduring form. Next up we have the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny coin without a mint mark stands as a compelling piece of mid-20th century American numismatic history. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint, the absence of a mint mark signifies its origin at the primary coin-producing facility of the United States. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not include mint marks on many of its coins during this era, and the 1953 wheat penny is a representative example. This coin is part of the broader Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 and remains ongoing, making it one of the longest-running coin series in American currency. The design of the coin remained consistent from 1909 through 1958 with the wheat ears on the reverse side, a period cherished by coin collectors and historians alike for its connection to historical events and cultural shifts in the United States. On the obverse side of the 1953 wheat penny is the well-known profile of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right. This portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner, was the first instance of a real person being featured on a circulating American coin. It marked a significant moment in U.S. coinage history and was initially met with a mix of praise and resistance. Over time, the design became one of the most iconic and enduring images in American currency. The inscription "In God We Trust" is arched across the top of the obverse, with the word liberty to the left of Lincoln's profile and the date 1953 placed to the right. The design, while simple, conveys dignity and respect, and has long served as a tribute to Lincoln's contributions to American unity, justice, and freedom. The reverse side of the coin continues the theme of simplicity and symbolic power. It features two stylized wheat stalks curving inward along the left and right borders, enclosing the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America. Above these inscriptions is the Latin phrase pluribus unum, which translates, two out of many one. This reverse design was also created by Brenner and emphasizes agricultural prosperity and unity in diversity, ideals that were foundational to the early 20th century American ethos. The wheat stalks symbolize not only agriculture, but also growth and sustenance, reflecting the essential role of farming in the country's economy and daily life during this period. In terms of historical context, the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny was minted during a time of transition and post-war development in the United States. The country was experiencing the early stages of the Cold War and grappling with the geopolitical consequences of World War II. Domestically, the economy was booming, the population was growing rapidly, and the American suburban lifestyle was beginning to take shape. Coins like the 1953 penny were used in countless daily transactions and were a familiar presence in the lives of Americans across all walks of life. Whether used to purchase groceries, pay for postage, or dropped into savings jars, the Lincoln cent was an essential part of everyday commerce and household budgeting. The coin's composition also holds interest. The 1953 penny, like others from that decade, was made primarily from a bronze alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition gave the coin a distinct reddish-brown tone that is especially attractive when well preserved. In circulated or used condition, as is common with most 1953 cents still in existence, the coin may have taken on darker shades due to exposure to the environment and natural oxidation over time. However, a well-maintained coin still retains its original detail and character, offering a window into the craftsmanship of mid-century American minting. Coins in good condition, such as this one, generally show moderate signs of circulation but retain clear detail. The legends and design elements are typically sharp enough to be easily recognizable, and while there may be some wear on Lincoln's cheek or jawline or slight smoothing of the wheat stalks on the reverse, the coin remains pleasing in appearance. Many collectors begin their Lincoln cent collections with circulated coins like this because they are both affordable and accessible. They also carry a certain historical charm that uncirculated coins may lack, as each nick or worn area tells a story of use and passage through time. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1953 wheat penny is not considered rare due to its high mintage figures, but it is still valued for its place in the continuity of the Lincoln cent series. It represents a time when coinage design emphasized both aesthetics and symbolic significance. Collectors often seek to complete full date and mint mark sets of Lincoln wheat pennies, making the 1953 issue a necessary and meaningful addition to such a collection. Furthermore, some examples of this year's penny may exhibit minor varieties or minting anomalies, such as doubling in the date or letters, which can enhance a coin's interest and value among specialists. Next up we have the 1950 to Lincoln wheat penny coin without a mint mark is a notable artifact from mid-20th century American coinage. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, its lack of a mint mark is a common feature for coins produced at this facility during that time. The Lincoln cent has held a central place in United States currency since its introduction in 1909, and the 1952 issue is part of the beloved wheat penny era, which ran until 1958. This coin's age, combined with its well-known design and widespread circulation, makes it a piece of historical significance. Even in a condition described as scratch and bad, the coin offers an important glimpse into American economic and cultural history. The obverse of the coin features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this profile was revolutionary when it was first introduced, as it marked the first time a real historical figure appeared on a regular circulating U.S. coin. Above Lincoln's head is the motto, "In God We Trust." While the word liberty appears to his left and the date 1952 is to the right. Even in worn condition, the central features of Lincoln's portrait often remain visible, though the scratches and wear may blur or dull finer details, such as facial features or the crispness of the inscriptions. Coins that have seen considerable use like this one serve as tangible reminders of the many hands they have passed through over decades. On the reverse, the coin continues with the wheat ear design that gives this series its nickname. To stylized sheaves of wheat arch along each side of the coin's back, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. The phrase pluribus unum is placed across the top. This design speaks to the agrarian values and national unity symbolized in early 20th century America. In a coin that has been heavily circulated, the wheat ears may appear flattened or partially obscured by scratches and general wear, but the underlying symbolism remains intact. Such a coin may not appeal to collectors focused on pristine specimens, but it holds great appeal for those who value the coin's history and journey through time. The 1950 to Lincoln wheat penny was minted in large quantities, which means it is not considered rare by collectors in the strictest sense. However, every individual coin tells its own story. A scratched and badly worn piece may have been carried in countless pockets, used for everyday purchases, dropped in vending machines, or saved in jars by families over the years. The marks and imperfections are a physical record of its real-world use, adding character and a sense of narrative that pristine coins do not possess. These qualities can evoke strong historical and emotional connections, particularly for those interested in the everyday life of mid-century America. In terms of composition, the 1952 wheat penny is made primarily from a bronze alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling can cause the surface to oxidize, resulting in various shades of red, brown, or even black. Scratches can cut through surface patina and expose the brighter metal beneath, further altering the coin's appearance. A badly worn coin may have uneven coloration and visible signs of corrosion or pitting. These flaws are often considered undesirable from a grading standpoint, but they offer depth to the story the coin carries. The Philadelphia Mint, where this coin was produced, played a central role in minting the coins needed for the rapidly expanding American economy of the post-war era. In 1952, the country was navigating the aftermath of World War II while also preparing for a new era of prosperity and global leadership. Coins like this wheat penny were part of daily transactions across the country, used by Americans of all backgrounds for everything from buying groceries to riding public transportation. The Lincoln cent, as the lowest denomination coin, was ubiquitous, and it served not just as a means of commerce, but also as a familiar symbol of national values and continuity. Collectors and historians often appreciate even worn coins because they reveal the wear and tear of history. A coin that is scratched and in bad condition might have limited market value in formal coin collecting, but it holds an irreplaceable place in the broader narrative of American life. It serves as a piece of material culture that can tell us about the economic habits of past generations, the development of minting technology, and the enduring popularity of Lincoln's image as a unifying national symbol. Holding such a coin is to hold a piece of history that has passed from one person to another through decades of American life. Next up we have the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny coin without a mint mark is a piece of American numismatic history minted during the latter years of the wheat penny era, which spanned from 1909 to 1958. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the absence of a mint mark identifies it as such since the Philadelphia Mint typically did not use a mint mark on its coins during that period. The 1957 issue is widely recognized among collectors and history enthusiasts for its classic design, its connection to mid-20th century America, and its status as one of the final examples of the wheat reverse design before the transition to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959, though the coin in question is circulated, meaning it has been used in everyday commerce and likely shows visible signs of wear. It still carries historical importance and is story told through its surface and journey. The obverse side of the coin features a right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln, a design introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The portrait, created by Victor David Brenner, marked a turning point in American coinage as it was the first time a real person, rather than an allegorical figure, appeared on a regular issue U.S. coin. Surrounding Lincoln's profile are the inscriptions including the year of issue and the national motto. The design has remained largely unchanged for over a century. It is instantly recognizable. On a circulated coin, the finer details of Lincoln's image, such as his hair texture, the creases in his clothing, or the sharpness of the inscriptions, might be smoothed out or faded due to repeated handling, but the fundamental elements of the design typically remain intact and recognizable. Turning to the reverse, the wheat penny design is characterized by two stylized ears of Durham wheat curving along the left and right edges of the coin. Between these two sheaves is the denomination and the country name. The phrase "E pluribus unum" appears at the top, reinforcing the ideals of unity and diversity foundational to the American Republic. The wheat design is symbolic of the agricultural strength and productivity of the United States, especially resonant during the early and mid-20th century when the country was more agrarian. On a circulated 1957 coin, the reverse might exhibit noticeable flattening of the wheat details or small nicks and marks from decades of use, yet it remains a nostalgic reminder of the era's aesthetics and values. In terms of physical composition, the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny is made primarily of copper, with a small amount of tin and zinc added to create the bronze alloy used during this period. This composition gives the coin a reddish or brownish hue when new, although its appearance can shift over time. With circulation and age, many of these coins darken or develop a patina due to oxidation and environmental exposure. The surface may have dulled from handling, been exposed to moisture that led to minor corrosion, or gathered oils and dirt from human touch. These physical changes are natural and serve as markers of the coin's active life in commerce, giving it character and a sense of authenticity. The 1957 issue of the Lincoln wheat penny had a high mintage, with hundreds of millions of coins produced by the Philadelphia Mint. As a result, these coins are not considered rare in a strict numismatic sense, especially in circulated condition. However, their abundance does not diminish their value as collectible items, especially for those who appreciate the historical context and design of American coinage. Many collectors begin their journey into coin collecting with Lincoln wheat pennies due to their accessibility, and the 1957 coin is often among the first acquired because of its availability and classic features. Historically, the year 1957 sits at the cusp of major social and technological changes in the United States. It was a time of post-war economic growth, cultural transformation, and geopolitical tension. During this period, coins like the 1957 penny were a staple of daily transactions, passed between countless hands in stores, schools, buses, and banks. Though each coin is identical in design, every piece accumulated unique marks and signs of use that distinguish it from others. The coin you now hold might have been part of a child's lunch money, a pocketful of change from a soda fountain, or perhaps rolled up in a coin wrapper in a drawer for decades. Each small scratch or worn detail reflects a moment in time and a piece of personal or shared American experience. Collectors who value condition might grade such a coin as being in good or very good condition, depending on how much of the original detail remains visible in circulated condition. There may be smooth areas, slight discoloration, and worn edges. These attributes do not necessarily detract from the appeal for a historically minded collector or someone aiming to complete a full series of Lincoln wheat pennies from every year and mint location. The coin's condition becomes part of its narrative and adds to the sense of connection to past generations. While not a coin that would command high prices in the numismatic market unless in uncirculated or proof condition, the 1957 Lincoln penny remains a valued piece for its educational and sentimental value. It serves as a visual and tactile link to a bygone era of coinage design and to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln himself, whose leadership and ideals continue to resonate with Americans. Coins like this offer more than just face value. They offer a gateway into history, design, metallurgy, and even economics. Next up we have the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny coin without a mint mark is a vintage piece of American currency that carries both historical and collectible significance. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin reflects the artistry and economic circumstances of its time as part of the iconic wheat penny series that ran from 1909 to 1958. The 1935 issue offers insight into the design legacy of early 20th century American coinage and into the broader social and economic environment in which it circulated. The absence of a mint mark on this coin indicates that it was produced in Philadelphia, which was the main minting facility of the United States during that era. Though this specific coin is in bad condition and shows signs of rust, it remains a tangible artifact from a time when coins like it were used daily by countless Americans navigating the Great Depression. The obverse side of the 1935 Lincoln Wheat penny features the famous profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design first appeared in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. It marked a shift in U.S. coin design by being the first circulating coin to feature a real person rather than a symbolic representation of liberty or another allegorical figure. Despite the coin's poor condition in this case, key elements of the obverse design may still be visible, such as Lincoln's bust facing right, the date of issue, and possibly parts of the inscriptions that read "In God We Trust" above Lincoln's head and "Liberty" to the left. Due to rust and extended wear, however, much of the surface detail may be corroded or lost, contributing to its degraded state, but also adding a layer of visual history to the object. On the reverse side, the wheat penny design consists of two stylized wheat stalks that curve along the outer edges of the coin, framing the denomination 1 cent in large lettering at the center. The phrase "The United States of America" is inscribed below and "E pluribus unum" above. The simplicity and agricultural symbolism of the reverse design were intended to reflect the values of productivity, self-sufficiency, and national unity. For collectors and historians, even a coin in bad shape provides a direct connection to the era when it was struck. Though corrosion and rust might have dulled or obscured parts of the wheat design, these features are often still partially discernible and serve as identifiers of the coin's authenticity. The 1935 Lincoln penny is composed primarily of copper, with a small mix of tin and zinc creating a bronze alloy that gave it a rich reddish-brown tone when new. Over time, environmental exposure, oxidation, and human contact can lead to surface changes including darkening, tarnishing, and eventually rusting. Rust is particularly uncommon on bronze coins, but can appear when moisture and certain environmental conditions allow corrosion to develop, especially if the coin was stored improperly or buried in the ground. In a badly rusted coin, surface detail becomes irregular, pitted, or flaked, making grading and identification more difficult but not impossible. Despite its degraded condition, the coin remains a piece of history. The year 1935 was a time of economic recovery efforts in the United States as the country struggled to emerge from the Great Depression. Millions of Americans were affected by unemployment, bank failures, and widespread poverty, yet they continued to use coins like the 1935 penny in their daily lives for basic purchases like bread, milk, or a newspaper. This coin would have passed through many hands and pockets, perhaps used by factory workers, farmers, school children, or shopkeepers. Each scratch, nick, or rust patch on its surface tells a fragment of that long and human story. For collectors, even coins in poor condition have educational and sentimental value. While pristine examples may be more desirable for investment purposes, coins like this serve an important role in helping individuals complete sets, study minting variations, and explore the cultural significance of numismatics. Some collectors specifically seek out lower-grade coins to illustrate the wear patterns typical of circulated money or to preserve examples that show the passage of time in a very physical and compelling way. Additionally, for educators and students, even heavily worn and rusted coins offer a hands-on way to engage with American history and the principles of economics, metallurgy, and design. In numismatic terms, the 1935 Lincoln penny is not considered rare. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 200 million of them that year, meaning many examples survive today and varying conditions. However, the availability of a coin does not reduce the individual significance of each piece, particularly when it represents a direct link to a historical period. In the case of this coin, the damage and rust may limit its market value but enhance its narrative appeal. Coins like these are often found in old drawers, basements, or buried in backyards, and discovering one can feel like unearthing a piece of the past frozen in copper.